What is going on? It's Brandon from Awaken Instincts, back again with another deck profile. Today I'm going to be going over the Red Sun Goku deck from set 16. As you guys know, if you watch the channel, I'm a die-hard red player. I love the color red in this game. I have since I started playing. Fortunately, red hasn't gotten the most love lately, but finally we have a deck that's gotten some good love. And it's really been testing nicely. It's very strong. The leader itself is a custom I got from David Androsano. If you haven't picked up any of his customs, you guys are missing out. These cards are just phenomenal. They look amazing. I always get them. I have a collection of these, but we'll go over what the leader itself does. So he is a permanent. We can't warp battle cards from our drop. That's fine. When he attacks, draw 1, burst 3, draw 1, discard 1. So essentially we're churning through like 5 cards of our deck every turn. So as you'll see, I'm running 60 cards in the deck. The only game I lost at locals yesterday when I played the deck was against Hatch, and I lost with 7 life and I decked out. It was quite unfortunate, but I was running 58 cards at the time, so I bumped it up to 60, and we're not going to deck out ever again. But we have an alt awaken with this leader when we're at 4 or less, or we have 7 or more U7s in the drop we can awaken. So you are going to awaken basically turn 2 majority of the time in this deck. Sometimes you don't want to necessarily, because you do go through more cards. You get more filtering on this side versus the other side, so if you don't need to awaken, don't rush into it. And keep in mind your awaken turn will be a huge tempo push, because like I said, you're going to go through all these draw effects and cycle effects on the front, and then draw another card with your leader on this side. So, and you're an untap 1, draw 1 leader also, so you get a real big tempo swing when you awaken, so sometimes you don't always want to just burn it turn 2. Permanent on this side, same thing. Activate main. On this side, we draw 1, then place up to 3 from the top of our deck in the drop. So once you hit about anywhere from like 18 to 20 cards in the drop, just stop bursting. You're going to combo cards naturally for the Sparking 20. You don't need the Sparking 20 until late game. And you don't need the Sparking 25 for the Vegeta Secret Rare till late game either, so don't rush. That was one of the biggest misplays I made when first playing the deck, was I just wanted to burst as much as possible, but it'll come back to bite you, so just be smart with your mills. The Activate main, Sparking 20, we can add any mono red Universe 7 from our drop to our hand, negate this skill for the game. Most of the time you're picking up your Vegeta Secret Rare after you burst it. Sometimes you're picking up the big 8 drop Goku. If you have both, or you don't need them, sometimes you're just picking up a super combo. Leader effect's really, really strong. Leader is incredible. Our first 4 cards are going to be Son Gohan Ultimate Essence, our 1 drop top 5 searcher. Essentially, you're just going to be playing this turn 1, getting your search, then comboing it off to help fuel your U7 count in the drop for an early awaken. We're also playing 4 copies of Android 17, Heeding the Call. This is just a cantrip, 1 drop, play it, draw a card. But he also has an effect that if use your leader effect to put him in the drop from the deck, he'll actually just play himself, burst a card. So you get an extra 5k combo. It's pretty nice. What I find myself doing a lot is just playing this turn 1, drawing a card, and when my opponent swings at my leader, I just combo it off to help protect the life and stay at high life. So these are 1 drops for the deck. Alright, so we got 4 Android 17 for the Universe Survival. This is a 1 energy double strike that looks at the top 3. We can add any mono red Universe 7 among them to our hand, place the rest at the bottom. He only has double strike if you have Sparking 7, but you're pretty much going to have this turn 2. And as long as you have 5 or more U7s in the drop, you can play him for 1. He has a limit 1 that you can only play 1 per turn, but you can have multiple of these on field. So you can play 1 on turn 2 and 1 on turn 3, and just get massive tempo unless your opponent deals with these cards. So this card's fantastic. It's probably one of my favorite cards of the deck. Our other 1 energy play will be Golden Frieza for the Universe's Survival. He has dual attack with Sparking 7, which again you're always going to have turn 2 pretty much. When he's played, we can minus 15k to one of our opponent's battle cards. And again, he has the same limit 1 where we can only play 1 a turn, but we can have multiple on field. So we can put a lot of pressure on for low energy costs, and that's one of the reasons I think this deck is really going to pop off this set. You get a lot of good value for cheap. Next up, we have Son Goku, Sign of Mastery. This is one of our counterplays in the deck. He is a counterplay, limit 1 play this card. As long as we have Sparking 7, he's 1 cost. And when he's played, we can choose a battle card, give it minus 15k. And if this reduces its power to 0, we get to draw a card. Very, very good counterplay for the deck. And then next up, we're running 4 Frieza. This is a Sparking U7 super combo. We can grab it off of any of our searches with Gohan or with Android 17. This also just, we can pick it back up with our leader effect if we need to late game. Really nice having a U7 Sparking. You will be at a high life a lot of the time. So I found that even though I really like the Raditz super combo, Frieza is just better for the deck. And again, you'll have Sparking live really, really quick. So then next up, we're running 4 copies of Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta for the Universe's Survival. This guy is a 20k deflect critical. When he's played, we draw 1 and then choose 2 of our opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and they get minus 15. Very, very strong effect. We can pay him for 2 as long as we have Sparking 10. So, card is also MVP. Really like the Vegeta. So I'm running 1 copy of Vegeta Royal Evolution. This card, if you don't know what it does, you can pay 1 after you attack with your leader, as long as your opponent has 3 or more energy. You can combo with this and then untap your leader, give him another 5k, and then swing again. Really nice if you're under floodgates or if you're playing against like Hachiyak or whatever and you just need more attacks that aren't battle card attacks. This really helps. And he's also got to activate battle that we can pay 1 to minus a battle card 10k. So, and our last few U7 cards, let's see here. We've got 2 copies of Son Goku Divine Presence. This card was like the best U7 card we had last set. This card, after playing this deck for a while, one of my least favorite cards, to be honest. I just really like it for the blue matchup. Being able to have a deflect card that can't be removed at all. It's just, sometimes it's a safer way of going in for game than playing your big boys. So, also we're running 2 copies of Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Son Goku, Concentrated Destruction. Field wipe, or we can kill something with barrier if it's big. Comes up every so often. And then the big boy, we're running 3 copies of Son Goku Ultra Mastery. I've been testing 2, 3, and 4 copies, and I'm pretty sure 3 is the right number. You don't always want to play this guy every game, but the threat of him is immense. This card does a lot of work. So if you don't know what he does, he is a deflect double strike dual attack. With Sparking 20, when we attack, our opponent reveals their hand. We can choose a 7 or less and discard it. Any card doesn't need to be a battle card. It can be a Unison, extra card, whatever, as long as it has a cost of 7 or less. We can pay him for 4 as long as there's 10 or more U7s in the drop. And when we play him, we minus 35k to the board. Very, very, very strong. You can't play non-red battle cards for the turn, but this card is amazing. The art is just phenomenal. I can't get enough of this SPR. It looks so cool. So that is all our U7s for now. Now we'll get into the Unison lineup. I saw an article by Matthew Coombs talking about Unisons for the deck, and I really liked this split that he was running. It can feel a tiny bit clunky at times if you draw into them, But there's also a lot of games where you're gonna mill, you know, 3 or 4 out of your 7 unisons. So realistically, I mean, that's how the whole deck is. Either way, I really like all of these unisons. They all have a really good purpose in the deck. Piccolo is probably the strongest. It's probably my favorite. Just being able to draw a card, it really helps the curve on turn 2. And any of these unisons will help alleviate pressure from our leader to help us stay at high life. Go tanks if our opponent does keep us at a high life and we want to see some of those cards. We can use go tanks to take life on our turn. If we do his +1, we can take up to 1 life, give our leader -5, which essentially gives it +10. Basically, both the +1 and the -2 give our leader +5. But the -2 lets us look at our opponent's hand, and we can take any multicolor card or a battle card with 10k or less. Very, very strong effect. Sin Shenron can also look at our opponent's hand, but this card is just nuts. This card puts in so much work, being able to attack things in active mode. We have a +1 that we can -15k to 2 cards. So if our opponent has like a 30k battle card out, we can do the +1 to minus it down to 15, and even if it's in active mode, we can swing Sin at it, whatever, and our opponent's gonna have to out-combo it. Next up, we're running 3 Yamcha. Kind of necessary. Goku's nice, but he's not good enough just on his own. In fact, one of my favorite plays, if our opponent plays a 30k battle card off of a skill, for instance, the new Kefla, she's very, very annoying. What we can do is window 1, when they're playing their card off of a skill, we counterplay with Son Goku, Sign of Mastery, to put him into play. Then in window 2, we use Yamcha counterplay to minus it 15k. And then we go to our autos after the counterplay is resolved, and we resolve Goku's auto to minus it 15k more and draw a card. So we killed their battle card, we have a 15 and a 19k body on field, and we drew a card in the process. So it really helps with dealing with those big cards right when they come down. So I really like just that combo. And we're also running 2 copies of Broly Crown. Pretty necessary. He's very, very good. Just between Gotenks, Sin, and Broly, we're going to be able to peek at our opponent's hand pretty frequently throughout the game to see if it's safe, you know, energy cost plays. 1 King Piccolo, new ruler. I feel like I just mill him every game, but I still keep him in there just in case he can come up. Then next up, we're running 2 Hidden Power East Supreme Kai. Gotta have double strikes for the deck. 2 Koitsukai. So our leader can't warp cards, but we can do Koitsukai since he's just removed from the game for his effect. We do mill a lot, and unfortunately we can't take advantage of all the drop area effects in red, and this leader specifically, because we can't overwhelm. So Koitsukai, really nice, helps hit those pesky decks that always are just trying to play cards on our turn. Then next up, we've got 4 After Image. I really like this card in the deck. It really helps us see our life. I feel like when I play the deck, my opponent will typically focus on my Unison and my battle cards and leave my life alone, because the battlefield can get pretty overwhelming pretty quickly. So After Image is really nice to be able to just take some life and be able to protect things on our side. I was running Testing the Op, but a lot of the times that card was just dead in my hand because, again, you stay at a high life. So if you're at 6 or 7 life, Testing the Op does nothing, which is kind of unfortunate unless we're paying 2 for it. Next card is Violent Rays. We need just a real floodgate for the deck. I'm not a fan of Topo. I think that card's just too risky. So Violent Rays is kind of our answer. It shuts down a lot of big things. And then the last card in the deck is, of course, Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, Unbridled Power. This card is absolutely bananas. He's got dual attack as long as you have Sparking 25. He's a deflect triple strike. We can play him for 4, minus our opponent's leader 5k for the turn. And then for the activate main, we can remove him from the game. Wipe everything on our opponent's side, all battle cards and unisons, ignoring barrier. place them in the drop, and then place one card from our opponent's life in the drop. So this card, you will see it very, very consistently. If you burst it, you can just pick it up with the leader. But this card is just phenomenal in the deck. So yeah, that's the 60. And now I'll get into the sideboard. Alright, here's our sideboard. We're running 2 copies of Realm of the Gods Ultra Instinct. Sin Shenron, yellow Sin Shenron's very popular right now. Black Gogeta. Any of these cards are good decks to side this in against, since we can use this on our turn offensively and minus something 30k on their side. It's really helpful getting rid of the big 9-drop Sin or thwarting. Running 2 copies of Vegeta Resolve Renewed. This is our counterplay that actually stops cards from touching the field. A lot of times, if your opponent's playing like Floodgate counters, one card that will be the bane of your existence if you play this deck is the Oceanus Negate. That makes you mill cards. Yes, it is very painful when you only have 10 cards left in deck and your opponent plays an Oceanus Negate against you. So, although, yeah, we can Yamcha it, whatever, to kill it, it's already hit field and it's already got its effect. So that's where Vegeta is really clutch. This is a 1 energy counterplay that can stop a 15k or less from coming in. Very, very solid. 2 copies of Max Power. Again, yellow Sin Shenron, really annoying deck. Really need to be able to deal with big cards on our turn. Unfortunately, we can't do the counter effect to add it back to hand, since we can't warp 4 cards, but it still doubles as a negate, so the card's very good sideboard material. 2 copies of King Vegeta's Imposing Presence. This card's really good against aggro. Sometimes we just need to keep an energy open to help keep the pressure down. If our opponent goes low and wide, typically I'll sub out Violent Rays for the Imposing Presence. Next up, we've got 2 Corn Tower Secret Medicine. This card's just kind of clutch. Can kill annoying things with Barrier if you're playing against agents, or if your opponent has like a Poutine out. Any small thing, just want to get rid of it. But one of the big things is just kind of doubling these 2 together. It's kind of like a double Senzu Bean on our leader for 2 energy. Defensively, we can really, really hinder our opponent from doing any damage to us. Next up, 3 Raditz the Oppressor for Soul Striker or Golden Frieza. Just any deck that does untap, we want to hate on that. And then the last 2 cards on the side are Son Goku Off to Defeat King Piccolo. This is a 5-drop. If you don't know what this card does, this card's really, really clutch against yellow. It's kind of like another Sin Shenron card. I always put this in against Sin. But any yellow deck in general. He's a deflect with triple tack. Our leader's red. Our opponent can't activate blocker in response to this attack. When he's played, we minus 20k to the board and add a marker to one of our Unisons. But just being able to swing 3 times to get around blocker is really, really solid. So that's the sideboard. Really enjoying the deck. It's been extremely fun and very strong, and I hope you guys give it a shot and have some fun. Go play some Dragon Ball Super. See you next time. Peace out.